So creating on YouTube, back to what I was doing with the adventure stuff, I was creating on YouTube, and I was filming every day, hitchhiking, and then I went out to Asia, and then the canoe trip and all that, and I started slowly growing a fan base. I grew a majority male fan base, 88% men, 12% women. I started receiving hundreds of emails, which was surprising for me. I didn't think I would get that. Hundreds of emails from young men aged 18 to 24, and that's when I really saw an impact with what I was doing. Is very exciting. I got a special, and they would ask me questions. They would ask me questions like life-making questions, stuff that I would ask, my dad or something, or someone I really look up to, and that was like mind-blowing to me. And it gave me a glimpse into the psyche of these men all throughout the world. This is a guy he's 20, he's from Nairobi, Africa. Let's see. He's like, hey man, I'm 20, I live in Nairobi, I'm a subscriber of yours, I saw your vlog on how you quit a job in Hollywood, it inspired me. He basically goes on to say that he'd been working a job where they were treating him poorly, and he watched one of my videos and he decided to quit and move on to something better. And that was just crazy to me, like a 20-year-old dude in Nairobi. I can't even imagine how his life is, and that he would be inspired by one of my videos. Like, that was just so cool. And that's what keeps me going with this stuff, is like the impact that it makes. And then, so this is like an uplifting one. This was pretty eye-opening, and I would get something like this a lot. This is Evan's email. So Evan hit me up. He said, I saw your channel on YouTube, and it was very inspiring. I watched all the videos of hitching across the U.S., and then I saw the video called Your Life is Your Life. One of my videos was titled that. Then I searched the poem and read it a few times. Right then and there, I decided not to kill myself and to quit drinking and to hitchhike from coast to coast. I was allowing fear to control me. He goes on to, say he had a great time and everything. But that was so mind-blowing to me. I never knew that people were having these issues, and it just became real to me. And I would get emails like that a lot. And they would say, I watched your video, it inspired me. I was very down in the dumps, blah, blah, blah. But it gave me a special look into specifically young men. Young men were hitting me up and showing me a glimpse into their psyche, which was really interesting. So he said, I was allowing fear to control me. And that really hit home to me, because we can get in this funk where we're making decisions based off fear instead of love or excitement or what could go right instead of what could go wrong. So that was amazing to see him actually choose the other path. And that was just amazing to me. So what I learned from all these, I got a glimpse into these young men reaching out to me, and what I learned, and I think about it all the time, is young men in Western culture, they don't have a rite of passage. Who knows what a rite of passage is? And I'll expand on that a bit, but we're missing, especially in America, it's a conglomeration of cultures, and it's a melting pot, right? And it's amazing because of that, but a lot gets lost in that, traditions, customs that other cultures would have. We kind of lose out on that, and I think it's important. We don't think about it. The consequences of this, young men are increasingly committing suicide, and this is an important issue for me, especially getting these emails. I got these emails, I started reading up on it. Young men are committing suicide, 75% increase since 1981. Like, what is changing since 1981 that young men are doing this? And specifically young men, they're doing it more than anyone else. So what is a rite of passage? A rite of passage is somewhat of a ceremonial experience or a testing experience where it symbolizes moving from a child to an adult, or a boy to a man, a young girl to a woman. Back in the old days, we would have rites of passage. We would have elders who would bring us in at a certain age and share their knowledge, their culture. We'd have tribes passing down knowledge from hundreds of years, and it's something we've lost. A rite of passage is designed to strip individuals of old roles and prepare them for new ones. Let's snack some water here. So, I'll give you some examples of rites of passage. This one's pretty intense. This is a bullet and initiation. It's the Satere Maui tribe in the Amazon jungle. What I find is that a culture's rite of passage is kind of directly related to how harsh their environment is. So they're in the Amazon jungle. I can't imagine what it would be like to grow up in the Amazon jungle, but I could imagine it's a lot harder than, growing up with air conditioning. And maybe they have air conditioning. I don't know. I should go there and check it out. But so they do this initiation for the young boys, and they have a glove. It's full of bullet ants, and a bullet ant's bite apparently hurt. It feels like you got shot by a bullet, and it's pretty intense. It's pretty crazy, but you put your hand in there, and you get bitten by these ants, and it's kind of a test. It's like, can you do this? Can you remain calm? And when you go out from the other side, you have this confidence. You have this core confidence that you're like, now I'm something different. It's symbolic, and I think it changes how you view the world. So I wanted to, if you look at this kid, I saw this photo. I was like, man, this kid looks so calm. Like, that's insane. I can't imagine doing that and being that calm. I think it says a lot about their culture. And I don't know, maybe he was freaking out after that photo was taken, but that's pretty amazing. This is an Amish rite of passage. It's called Rumspringa. So young Amish men and women at 16 years of age, they're encouraged to leave by their parents. They're encouraged to leave their parents, go out into the world and experience worldly pleasures like technology and alcohol and partying, and travel around the world like that, something that Amish don't really do often. It was kind of interesting, 80 to 90% of them return back to the Amish church. They go out and live this life of travel and worldly pleasures, and then they come back to the church, and that was interesting to me. That was interesting that they come back to their culture. So the consequences of no rite of passage. I think if you don't have a rite of passage, if you don't have an experience to test you, and for me, I speak through the lens of like a man. As a young man, you can remain a child in some sense. You don't have that knowing, that resourcefulness, that core confidence that you can do certain things. And I think I see that a lot in our culture today. I see a lot of essentially overgrown children in some way. And I think about it a lot. So no rite of passage, the cycle gets repeated. What comes along with that? Frustration, anger, victimhood, desperation. I think there was a quote by, I think it was Emerson or something. He said, most men lead lives of quiet desperation. That really hit me at the core because I've lived that life before. And it's really easy to get stuck in that. And I think a lot of men are living that. And what happens is no rite of passage, no testing experience. The childhood cycle repeats. You keep this frustration, this anger, this victimhood, this desperation, this blame within you. You still have this child within you. You don't have an experience to be like, I'm stripping myself of that old role. I'm moving into adulthood. The consequences of this, I see a lot of living vicariously through entertainment, through video games, through Netflix, through movies. I think that's amazing, and I think it's great to enjoy those things. I see it happening like crazy, and I don't know if that can have real fulfillment from that thing. You can watch Adventurist stuff, but when you go out and you do it, it really changes you. It gives you really a sense of accomplishment that I don't think a video game or something entertaining could do. There's also other things: resentment of parents, lack of personal responsibility, victimhood, inability to lead others, lack of direction, and again, quiet desperation. And this is something I want to fight against. I want to inspire other people to not live this life. Live the life where they're not making a decision based on fear. They're making it out of love and love for life and a vibrancy of life. Because on the other side of that is just like pure gold, pure gold.